The Beaverton calls itself North America's trusted source of news, and most people, of course, do read it for the satire. But in the U.S., Time magazine published one of its made-up quotes as fact. Now, the quote attributed to U.S. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra was first seen in the Beaverton in September. Time quoted this line: "A Canada that it would be very easy to target with 500% steel tariffs or one Patriot missile aimed at Parliament Hill." Now, today, Time magazine has issued a correction. I spoke to the writer behind that made-up quote, Ian McIntyre. What was your reaction when you found out that Time magazine had, been perusing, looking for sources on what was happening with Pete Hoekstra in Canada, and then they lifted that quote as if it was something he actually said?
I checked their website to see where I could send a bill, but I didn't really find anything. So then after I found it funny, I found it pretty scary.
How did you find out about it?
It's funny, actually, another comedy writer that I know on another comedy news show reached out to me because apparently they were looking for quotes from him and they found this quote and they were like, that doesn't sound real. And they Googled it and they found the Beaverton website and they were like, I know Ian wrote this, so they just messaged me directly. And that was actually, I found out about it 2 days ago.
So I was reading, I do read the Beaverton from time to time.
Oh, thank you.
I do so for the chuckle that I'll get from it. And I see what Time did. I see the paragraph. They saw the quote, and it is, it's certainly it's an outlandish quote. So you could right then maybe suspect it might not be real. But as you continue on down through this article, you talk about things about him pouring out a bottle of Labatt Blue and spitting on a photo of Terry Fox and decrying how it's so difficult to find Canadians who are passionate about the American-Canadian relationship. I mean, it goes on to be sort of, I think, pretty clear that it's a joke.
One would hope.
Has Time reached out to you or to anyone else at the Beaverton to talk about what happened here and how they made that mistake?
Surprisingly, they have not. I keep expecting to maybe get a phone call from the AI chatbot that wrote the article for Time, maybe. I don't know. If that's how they get their quotes. I really don't know how this mistake happened, but yeah, no, they haven't been excited to reach out to us about this.
I mean, let's be clear here, and we don't want to be in a position where we don't acknowledge that mistakes can certainly happen.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, they absolutely can. I want to be the first to acknowledge that.
I make mistakes all the time on the website,
sure.
Especially.
Yeah, and they have acknowledged it in a retraction or an apology at the end of that article. They've changed it. They've taken it out now. What else are you hearing? Though you are hearing from other people about the fact that this has happened, because the fact that they've made this mistake has certainly made headlines. Oh,
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it would be nice if they had accidentally misattributed a quote about something really benign, like an article we wrote about Kraft Dinner or something like that. But no, they decided to choose the most hot button thing, which was the U.S.-Canada trade war and our very inflammatory Canadian ambassador, Pete Hoekstra. So yeah, to me, it's just really telling that they read a quote where he threatened to bomb Parliament Hill and they were like, yeah, that sounds like something he would really say.
Well, and talk to me about why you did write it and what made you come up with that quote? Because your satire is, it's sort of like a fine line. It's not the most obvious joke right off the top, right?
Oh, I wish it was the most obvious joke. I wish we lived in a world where that wasn't a fine line. But yeah, it was back in September I wrote the article. Hoekstra had been at some kind of international security conference in Halifax, which is where I'm from, so I took it kind of personally that he was making really inflammatory comments and really kind of purposefully, obtusely misinterpreting why Canada was upset about the tariffs and all the talk about the 51st state. And yeah, I just thought it really sounded like something where he was kind of kicking us where we live and then saying, I don't understand why you're mad. So I just decided to write an article where he went, as I thought, completely ridiculously over the top. But apparently Time magazine thought it sounded pretty real.
But as you do point out, some of the things that are said by the U.S. ambassador are, and to quote you, really inflammatory. So does it really, does it surprise you entirely that Time would have, as I say, if you read further on, I think it's pretty clear, but does it surprise you entirely that they made the miss here?
It kind of doesn't surprise me. I mean, It's almost as if Hoekstra was installed to make Canadian-U.S. relations break down and to be an impediment to our countries working together. I don't know where someone would get that crazy notion. But yeah, it doesn't seem like he's really here to help or be an ambassador.
Well, Ian McIntyre, editor for the Beaverton, thank you very much for what you do and the smile that you put on our faces regularly, and for taking the time to speak with us.
Oh, thanks for smiling.